Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday session at Namaste Lake Chapala. Once again, what a great way to start off our week, joining in this single intention, this passionate intention of awakening, of oneness. And we're going to have a very powerful, very fun day, I think, because it is Miracle Monday. Today's going to be a chance for us to step into the miracle and to have some fun together, and then we're going to go even deeper. So, why don't we just dive right in? I'm going to make sure I can see everyone. And here's what I want I need a volunteer, but I need it to be someone who I've never talked to before. And who I don't know. So it can't be Vicky or Baraka or people like that I know well. Someone preferably that I've never spoken with. And you have to have your camera on. So not everyone has their camera on. So if you do have your camera on and that meets you, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll pick someone. Anybody? Don't all jump up at once. I guess you all want. Okay, I see Pat Barnes. Let's go ahead and I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, Pat. And there you go.
Okay.
Hold on one moment. I'm just going to go ahead and see if we can make each other split screen. How do I do that here? Okay. Spotlight. But then we need to spotlight me. Add spotlight. There we go. Okay.
Hmm.
So you and I have never met before. Is that correct? Or have we spoken? Or do I know anything about you?
We met years and years and years ago, but no, I'm sure you don't even remember me.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that it's someone that I don't have any intimate understanding of. But so that would mean that I don't know when you were born. I don't know what sign you are. Is that right?
Right, right.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want to ask first, how is your imagination? Would you say that you have a good imagination, Pat?
Yes,
Okay. So in a moment, what I'm going to ask you to do is using your birth sign, your zodiac sign. First of all, do you know how to spell? It's something. It'll be important. You know how to spell the sign,
yes.
your birth sign. Okay, good. Because if you happen to be a Sagittarius, then that would, you may want to look it
Oh,
up.
right.
All right, that's a tough one, but if as long as you know how to spell the word, what I'm going to ask you to do in a moment is I'm going to ask you to imagine that the letters of your sign are written on a big chalkboard, okay? And then I'm going to ask you, we're going to turn off the light in the room so you can't see anything, but you're going to have a flashlight and you're going to be shining it back and forth to the letters that are on the board there. And then what I'm going to see if I may not get them in order, but I'm going to see if I can just pick them out. Does that sound fair so far, Pat?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so you can keep your eyes open or closed, whatever you prefer, but I want you to imagine a chalkboard with the sign, your sun sign, written there on the chalkboard. Okay?
Okay.
You have that now?
Yes.
You can see the letters clearly, right?
Right.
Okay, now I want you to imagine that you just turned the light off in that room, but you have a flashlight in your hand. So, what you're going to do is you're going to take and you're going to be shining that flashlight back and forth. And as you do, different letters from that word get illuminated. And what I'm going to try and do is just pick out the letters one by one, and hopefully I'll get them right. But I'm just going to tune myself to your mind. Okay, starting to come now. So the first letter that I'm seeing is an I. Is there an I in that word?
No.
There's no I. Oh shoot. Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay, an A. There was an A, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I saw the A clearly. Okay, keep just shining back and forth. So there was no I, but I did see the A. A C. I feel like I'm seeing a C. Is there a C in the word?
No C.
Oh, C. Okay. All right, take a deep breath. Oh, okay, there's a U. I definitely saw the U.
Yes.
and an R. I saw an R, and then another U. Taurus. I'm pretty sure that your sun sign would be a Taurus. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right, we got it. Beautiful. All right. Before we go, we're going to do one more thing because now that we've established that, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna write something on it, and you're not even going to know what it is that I'm writing. But since we already have this connection going, what I want to do, I'm going to count to three, and when I say three, I'm going to tell you what's going to pop into your mind. This is just going to be a little experiment. Now that I've been able to, or you've been able to send a thought in my direction, we're going to try and do it in the other direction. I've written something on this piece of paper. It's going to stay right here so it never leaves the screen. But in a few seconds, I'm going to say one, two, three, and then I'm going to tell you that something's going to pop into your mind, and you'll just notice that it appears. Okay? So here we go.
Okay.
One, two, three, a two-digit number now just appeared in your mind. Tell me what that two-digit number is.
12.
12. Okay, are you sure you want to stick with that? Okay, do
Yeah.
you want to see what I wrote? Oh, it's looks like it's backwards on the screen, but
Wow. No, I can see it. 12.
12.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Wow, it goes both ways.
Huh.
Fun. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you. That was fun.
What a fun way. I'm glad you said that because it is fun. It's meant to be fun. What other reason would we be here if we're not here to passionately release the fun in this awakening? In fact, what I want to talk about today is fun, but it's I think so important, and it's going to relate to what we just saw here. You know, whether we thought we just saw a miracle or a magic trick. It's really up to you, but there's something that's going to determine that. And so last night, as some of you know, I've been escaping now and then from my anchor hold, climbing through the window because there is no door, and I've been going up to the very top where there's a bathtub. I've been giving my permission to take an occasional bath. And I did that last night. And for me, often when I'm in the bathtub, this is when the deepest lessons and inspirations come to me. So while I was in the bathtub last night, I wrote it down right here. This beautiful line came to me. And to me, this is, if we could just get this one truth and really understand it, and then use it for the passion of this awakening, everything would change. So this is the line I wrote down. You will see what you want to see, and you will believe what you choose to believe based on who, what, and where you think you are. Once again, you will see what you want to see, and you will believe what you choose to believe based on who, what, when you think you are. Who, what, and where, rather. Or I guess when, too. You think you are. That makes sense, doesn't it? You're going to see what you want to believe based upon who you think you are. So looking at the experience we just had, whether you're going to believe this was a miracle or this was just a fun experiment and maybe even a magic trick, that's going to be conditioned upon the thoughts that you have about yourself. And we begin there. This is where everything begins. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of real life examples of this. And just so you know, I'm not going to be picking on one person or one party. I'm going to give an example from both sides of this whole thing. But you're going to be able to see very clearly what I mean by what I experienced last night. So, you may or may not be familiar with a character named Borat. I love Borat. Borat appeared a number of years ago. He's a character played by Sacha Cohen, but he's a very, very funny person, and he catches people in very uncomfortable situations. And you may have heard on the news lately that someone named Rudy Giuliani, who is the former mayor of New York, the president's lawyer, was caught in a, we'll say, compromising situation. Now, he was being interviewed by a young woman. The young woman invited him into his bedroom, into her bedroom. They took off their microphones. He laid down and, well, placed his hand somewhere. And of course, immediately this was stopped. Sacha Cohen came in and he claimed, and I'm not saying what did or did not happen, I'm just telling you the facts. He claimed that he was tucking in his shirt. Now here's where we get to that beautiful piece that you heard earlier. If you choose to believe that you are, let's say, a Republican, it said here, who, what, and where, that you are this person who is a Republican who chooses to believe anything that you would hear from Rudy Giuliani, regardless of the evidence, regardless of what you saw happen with your eyes, you're going to believe him because that's who you think you are. If, on the other hand, you identify with another direction and you see the exact same evidence, based on who and what and where you think you are, you're going to say, well, he's obviously laying on the bed and we know what's happening. But it doesn't really matter what the evidence is, and this is the point. Now, I told you I was going to give you two different examples, so let's give one from the other side. There's been a lot of talk lately about Joe Biden and Joe Biden's son, about a laptop and some laptop that's supposed to have some compromising information on. Now, it's been proven pretty well that this was a Russian misinformation campaign. But based on who and what and where you think you are, you're going to decide whether you're going to acknowledge or ignore that evidence and say, this is what I believe or this is what I believe. And the two can be so far apart. And this is what we see in the world today. These views of everything are so far apart, it doesn't have anything to do with what's right there in front of us. Now, why is this important? It's important because of the word in that beautiful thing that I wrote from the bathtub last night. The word is believe. Who, what, and where you choose to believe you are. Because this is of the mind. And so the mind, our intellect, is going to make whatever decision it chooses to make based upon who you think you are. I am a man. I am James Twyman. I am an anchorite. I am in Ajijic, Mexico. I am in this body. And all of this so-called evidence is going to influence what I choose to see, what I'm choosing to believe, regardless of everything else. Okay, now this also applies in a much more spiritual sense, because that one word, believe, if it were to be removed and changed to know who I know myself to be, it changes the entire equation. And that now it becomes, I will see what I choose to see, and I will believe what I want to believe, based on who, what, and where I know I am. I know I am. Okay? Now, when I know who I am, something very interesting happens and changes. What happens is I'm no longer living in what I think I know. I'm living in the highest knowing possible, which is only one thing. And when I hear a story like the two that I shared a moment ago, and I'm in that place of knowing who and what and where I am, that I am not this body, I'm not James Twyman, those are identities that I've claimed. Who I am is the holy, perfect child of God. Where I am is in heaven this moment, not in a body, not even on earth. The truth of who I am is in heaven. And when I know that, it changes everything that I see. Suddenly, regardless of the evidence that I see in any situation, I come to this point where I say, I only know one thing, and that's not it. The situation with Rudy Giuliani or Joe Biden or anything, that's not what I know. When I believe something, I think I know very clearly what happened. But when I choose to know who I am, the only thing I truly know is that there's only one thing in this whole universe, and that's the goodness, the godliness, the holiness that surrounds me. I know only love. I'm living in the I don't know experience. Isn't that interesting that when we know who, what, and where we are, now we come to live in the experience of I don't know. I don't have any idea what was happening here or there. I don't need to know. I don't need to make decisions based on that because I know who I am. And now I know that there's only one thing that's important, and that's not it. And now my mind is wholly, completely focused on what is truly valuable, that only God and only love are real. It reminds me of a great Sufi story of a farmer who had a son, and there was a conflict going on in this area, and they were raising an army, and they asked his son to be one of the great leaders of this army because he was very strong and very noble. But and so they came to the father, the farmer, and said, "Aren't you excited and aren't you honored that your son has been chosen to lead this great force?" And the farmer said, "I don't know, maybe." But they were surprised by that answer. Well, not long after that, the son had an accident at the farm and broke his leg. And they realized he couldn't be the leader of this army anymore. People came to the farmer and said, "Aren't you sad that your son has been injured and now he can't go lead this army?" And the farmer says, "I don't know, maybe." Well, not long after that, this force went off into battle, and every man in this army was killed. And they came to the farmer and said, "Aren't you glad that your son didn't go and wasn't killed?" He said, "I don't know." He was able to live wholly in that place of only knowing one thing, that God is love. And that love is all there is. I don't have to know anything else. I'm going to be shown what I need to do, what I need to say in any given situation. When I live in that place of knowing who I am rather than believing. So once again, we always begin with that saying and that experience of you will see what you want to see and you will believe what you choose to believe based on who, what, and where you think you are. And then think that you can make a decision about anything until this experience that we talk about every day, and this is why we only focus on this experience, until the experience of holiness and oneness takes over, and now you realize that I will see only what I want to see, and I will believe only what I choose to believe based on who, what, and where I know I am. That I am the holy, perfect child of God, and I am in heaven right here and right now. So that's what our little miracle shows me today. We're going to see whatever we choose to see, and we're going to respond to it however we choose to respond to it, based on whether we think or whether we know. I choose to enter into the experience of the highest, purest knowledge, which is God is only love, and love is all there is. And then to live in the I don't know, because none of that really matters anyway. Once you have that first, that highest knowledge, everything else aligns. So Vicki, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you and hear what you would like to share about that. What do you
Okay,
know?
Jimmy. Well, I'll add, I really know I don't know anything, but I will add, I love to live in wonder. Like I look at all of these things and I really don't, I know that I don't know, but it is with wonder. And the other thing that I think helps me stay there is the government is upon his shoulders, the shoulders of spirit of Christ. And so I don't feel dependent on this outcome or that outcome or a good guy or a bad guy. I know that we are not at the effect of our brother's mistakes or our own mistakes,
Yes.
but we live at the effect of God and God's plan if we choose to. So, of course, I choose to. And as soon as I slip into trying to defend a position or get something, I see that again is my reset button. I want to stay under the government upon those shoulders, the plan, the spirit shoulders. And what else did I want to say? The other part of that is it's it's I don't know, to be here in time and find myself here practically. Here's the practical piece. I'm a soul joining the souls of all my brothers in this great awakening. So I really don't know what anything is supposed to look like or what it is, other than I'm here to offer love and blessing. And like you said, to live in the love is to stay in that place of joy, which is the frequency of heaven. And how else can we ground it here without looking for an outcome? Just like in any situation, it's the outcome that drags us down in our energy and our frequency. And
Hmm.
if we stay without regard to an outcome in that space of like a child, playful, and watch all of this and not feel dependent or threatened or vulnerable by it. We're not threatened. If we know who we walk with, then we just rest there and can afford to, almost enjoy the dynamics. It's just quite incredible to look at it with wonder and not be threatened by it, and let it be an outplaying of we are souls joined in this choice to awaken here in time. And this is the classroom and the set that we find ourselves in, to remember who we are and to remember to anchor in joy, anchor in peace. That's what I got. Thank you, Jerry.
Anchor and joy. I love that. That's how I look at these Miracle Mondays. We're here just to anchor in joy and to seek the highest good. And what we're sharing here today, this is how we seek the highest good, by staying in that state of not knowing, or really not having an opinion, I think would be a good way to say it. I don't have to have an opinion about this situation or that party or this election. I know this is on all of our minds right now, and for those of us who live in the U.S. especially, I'm struggling with it, to be very honest with you. But it's giving me a great point of focus, of showing me where my mind is and what I think I believe. This is showing me what I think I believe, but it's also forcing me to go deeper into that place of knowingness, where I know that only God is real and only love is real and whole and perfect and apparent and everywhere. And so this is giving me the opportunity to go deeper and to look at the judgments that I still have, what I think I still believe, and to realize I don't know anything. How could I possibly know? And the best thing is I don't have to. I just need to stay in that holy place of oneness. Yes, Vicky.
So the only thing I would add to that, this is not a situation that pushes my buttons. There are others, as you know, but not the politics of everything. So what I have found myself in most often is I can hear, feel, and recognize calls for help. And I find that as I'm busy really listening to everyone, I don't care what they're talking about, I hear under it that call for help, and I'm seeing everyone's innocence and everyone's wholeheartedness. And I want to answer those calls for help. So, in blessing, and wherever it comes up on my screen, I don't turn away. I watch, I look, I listen. And I want to be here in time, remembering that everyone is innocent and everyone's calling for help. And I want to be the living answer that for the
Amen.
moment, right? It doesn't push a button, I'll answer the call for help. Thank you.
Amen. That's beautiful. Thank you, Vicky.